All right, so it is Tuesday, November 19th, 7:13 a.m. And this will be the either 16th or 17th. It's hard for me to keep track now as we get up into the double digits installment of In the Grip of ThermostatAnon. And if you have been following the series In the Grip of ThermostatAnon, you will already know that it is a response to YouTube's censorship of one of my political satires and their response to my appeal. This is their response to my appeal letter informing them that the work was a political satire and it did not violate their their policy on harmful conspiracy theories. And in fact, more or less, I argue that it does precisely the opposite, and those who've been watching this series will remember and recall and be aware of the fact that over the course of justifying and clarifying the intention of the images, we've been teaching ThermostatAnon a lot about figurative language and other rhetorical forms that satire and other forms of literature may utilize. The original title of this video that has this long acronymic, perhaps some of it is, I guess there's little footnotes in there to help you follow along with the acronyms if you can't decipher them on your own. The original title here was In the Grip of MQ-MAGAn, and hence ThermostatAnon. To fully understand, what ThermostatAnon means, I think you have to begin with In the Grip of ThermostatAnon 1 and, proceed from there. But as I said, today we are continuing, and I think we can just jump right in. I'll close this window. All right, so this is our next frame, and as you can see, we are at the gates of a split decision. On our left, that's intended to be Inferno, and on our right, that's intended to be Paradiso, or heaven. And so the split here is between heaven and hell. Hence the enlistment of this figure. Now, I'm going to have, I want to be careful about this figure and the two hammers, and go over this for the benefit of ThermostatAnon, who this character is. Let's talk a little bit about what this means. You remember Mike Pence, had a devil on his shoulder on one side. We couldn't figure out what the devil was telling him. We could see the angel, and we could read his question or his statement quite clearly. But Mike Pence is split, and he wants to do the right thing, and he's motivated by part of his soul wants to follow the rules and do the right thing and preserve democracy, and the other part it just wants something else. It craves the love and affection, the endearment of MQ-MAGAn, and particularly in the form of Donald J. Trump, I guess Donald Little J. Trump. And so he has to make a decision. Is he going to go this way, or is he going to go this way? So it's not one gate, to eternal nothingness. The gate opens, to this side and to this side, and hence, the double hammers. Now, I should say something about this guy, the hero standing in front of the gate here. Is this hero's name in a contract in fee through Theta universe is Racist Monument Removal Machine Man. And I guess we chose that name because of all the alliteration. I really like that. So let me just say it again. This guy, his name is Racist Monument Removal machine man, or maybe it's not machine man, maybe it's just racist. I think it's not, you know, I said machine man because of the narrative from which he derives his name, but he's not a machine, he's a man. So it's just racist monument removal man. Not, you can discount that machine thing, but I'll explain, you know, where that error, you know, on my part originated. This for you know, specifically and explicitly, right, for ThermostatAnon's sake, you know, this image should not be censored, because if ThermostatAnon thinks that it refers to some white supremacist racist organization that involves two hammers, this is not that organization. This is the hero, as I said, racist monument removal man. And racist monument removal man, the reason that he has the two hammers, well, it looks nice for the symmetry of the gate, as opposed to having one hammer, and they're sledgehammers, right? You can see that they're sledgehammers. I actually play this character in the film, and I don't know if you can, those are my hands, and I'm holding my sledgehammer, and then through some you know, technical effects, you know, we've reduplicated that hammer over on this side. I actually only have, you know, one hammer as a dance tool, but it looks, and see, it looks like the part of the handle of the hammer has been foreshortened here for the purpose of, you know, the clarity of, you know, seeing what's going on in this image. And that's all through, you know, the magic of cinema that's done. I am actually holding the hammer, as you can see. I mean, I don't want to confuse ThermostatAnon. I am not racist monument removal man. That is to say, like, I have not taken this. Okay, just trust me on this. And if you're at the FBI and you're watching this video, just because I play the part of racist monument removal man doesn't mean that I have used this actual sledgehammer that weighs 16 pounds in our universe to, you know, destroy and or remove, you know, racist monuments in public spaces. All right, this is, I play this character. Right, so, you know, I don't want to confuse the issue, right? And you know, appear to be, you know, promoting or or endorsing, you know, all perhaps of the actions of racist monument removal man. All right, so to explain the two hammers, where the two sledgehammers come from, let's minimize this for a second and go here. I think you'll recall this image, and on a contract in our universe, in a contract in feed through Theta's YouTube universe, in the YouTube universe, you can go from our site and you can type in John Henry, and you'll get a lot of different stuff. But here's a depiction of John Henry, and here he is with one sledgehammer. That looks a lot like our actual sledgehammer, but the justification for the two hammers comes here, and I'll just read this paragraph. As the story goes, John Henry was hired as a steel driver for the railroad. Later, the railroad company brought in a steam drill to speed up work on the tunnel. It was said that the steam drill could drill faster than any man. The challenge was on man against machine. John Henry was known as the strongest, the fastest, and the most powerful man working on the railroad. He went up against the steel drill to prove that the black worker could drill a hole through the rock farther and faster than the drill could, using two. Okay, here's where racist monument removal man, you know, the justification for the two hammers arises. So using two 10-pound hammers, one in each hand, he pounded the drill so fast and so hard that he drilled a 14-foot hole in the rock. The legend says that the drill was only able to drill 9 feet. John Henry beat the steam drill and later died of exhaustion. Okay, so that's where the two hammers comes from. And then what I wanted to again note for the edification of ThermostatAnon, the two hammers in, you know, guarding, you know, the gates, you know, or tending the gates of both, you know, heaven and hell simultaneously, shouldn't be confused with these two hammers, which these crossed hammers are associated with this white supremacist hate group, Hammerskins, and that's not Hammerskin Man, you know, standing in front of the gates and hand with the hammers in hand. In fact, these are not. These look more like rock hammers, like little hammers that you chisel away if you're like a rock hound. I don't really get it, but or maybe you know they're claw hammers, and something's going on with that. But I'll read the as far as I know, this group wasn't part of the January 6th insurrection and riot and destruction of property and mayhem, but could have been, you know, obviously. And it says that they're still around. It says group status active. This is the ADL site, and so I imagine that the information is pretty good here. I'll read it, and then if you see these hammers or a symbol like it, then you'll know that well, ThermostatAnon will know, you know, to censor, you know, in a video, you know, that presents this outside of the context of explaining, you know, that it is a racist symbol, I guess, you know, or that promotes this symbol. We, you know, again, explaining to ThermostatAnon, we are not promoting this symbol here. We are exposing it and giving some information about it. The Hammerskins are one of the oldest hardcore racist skinhead groups in the United States and have a history of violence. Their logo and primary symbol appropriated from Pink Floyd's The Wall. Well, how can they be one of the oldest hardcore racist skinhead groups and have appropriated from? I remember when The Wall came out. I mean, I don't consider myself that old. Well, anyway, I guess you don't have to be, you know, that old to be one of the oldest hardcore racist skinhead groups in the United States. Consists of two crossed hammers, usually superimposed over a cogwheel. The symbol typically appears in red, white, and black, the colors of the Nazi flag. Now, and there was just a Nazi rally. We'll look that up, you know, in the news since we're here and since we're helping ThermostatAnon, you know, identify like what Nazism looks like. In some cases, the hammers and cogwheel appear over a red, black, and white colored shield. In the United States, the Hammerskins differentiate themselves regionally, such as the Confederate Hammerskins and Western Hammerskins. They're like poisonous snakes. There's like varieties of them, regional varieties of them. Differentiate themselves regionally, such as the Confederate Hammerskins, not to be confused with the Western Hammerskins, and can sport regional variations of this logo, such as a version incorporating the Confederate flag. The Hammerskins have spread to several countries outside the United States, and such variants appear there as well, often incorporating national symbol, national colors or symbols. So if you see any of this, those are racist symbols. You should be aware of it. They're not, you know, innocent. And that one's interesting. And let's go ahead and look up Nazi rally in the news, since we're here. And again, you know, this is for the edification of ThermostatAnon, but you know, I guess for the rest of my viewers as well. If I click here, because I'm on the browser that I'm on, this is New York Times, and I'm not signed in, so I won't be able to get it from there. Let's see if I can find. This is Columbus, Ohio, and so Nazism is alive and well in America today, just as, you know, a contract entity through Theta and the meta multi sci-fi comiverse has been you know warning, you know, Americans about. It's not an isolated fantasy, right, of ours. Ohio officials have denounced a small contingent of neo-Nazis who paraded Saturday afternoon. Oops, there's an ad coming up. Always need to buy a car no matter what you're looking at. Who paraded Saturday afternoon through Columbus, Ohio neighborhood, waving flags featuring swastikas and shouting a racial slur. In the latest public demonstration by white nationalists in recent years across the United States. And I think I've mentioned before, I'll just mention it again, since we're, you know, dealing with this neo-Nazi, you know, symbol, or what could be misinterpreted as neo-Nazi symbolism. If you weren't paying attention to the nature of the hammer and my relationship with John Henry, and also, I guess, you know, not knowing who racist monument removal man is in our, you know, heroic universe, that you know, when I lived in Julian, California, in the mountains, you know, kind of rurally, there was a neighbor, you know, who had you know, Nazi symbolism and flags in his yard, and when I confronted him about it, you know, there was, you know, some mixture of, you know, denial of its meaning, and you know, I can do whatever I want. And when I informed the local police, they expressed basically the same idea, that argued that it wasn't hate symbolism, it was free expression, and there was nothing that they could do about it. In fact, they didn't even come out. They refused to come out. So I had to remove these things on my own. When I did, almost immediately following, you know, my removal of the swastikas, did I mention that there were swastikas? There were swastikas. Then my name was written in chalk on the public road, and with a death threat. And again, you know, the police, you know, had no intention of coming out. I got some water and I removed it on my own. So there's a lot of complicity in local areas of hatred and bigotry, and I think we should be able to call out hatred and bigotry where and cowardice where it exists, and not, you know, worry too much about whether we're offending the supporters or contributors to such violence and hate speech. It was condemned by the governor. Ohio's governor also condemned the demonstration, describing those involved as spewing vile and racist speech against people of color and Jews. Of course, that's exactly what it is. It's an act of violence. It's an example, you know, both of hate speech and of stochastic terrorism, right? And it produces terror and fear, and therefore, you know, should be the target of FBI investigations. So if the FBI is watching this, what we're looking for is examples of this, right? And this, and I believe when I tried to call the FBI about the the swastikas in my neighbor's yard and the death threat on the road, and I think I'm pretty sure this is what I remember, and I don't know why I would misremember it, that I was informed that they didn't respond to crimes like that, and I'm not sure why. So if ThermostatAnon and the FBI are out there listening, this is the kind of thing you want to identify and denounce and censor if it's up on your YouTube channel. And here's another example of it. Can I get back to where I was? Maybe I can't. What was that? I'm trying to get back to that. Here's examples that, this is just, I just typed in 2 hammers. These are not necessarily, but also not necessarily not things that ThermostatAnon should be looking at to identify. And here once again is the Anti-Defamation League's hammer skins site. So ThermostatAnon, this, right, that is hate speech and symbol of terrorism, and oops, where are we? I'm gonna have to reopen our and this is not. This is racist monument removal machine man. Okay, and so Mike Pence, running out of time, he had the opportunity to be selected as the hero, right? Preserving democracy in the 21st century so that it could survive into the 31st century. And here we have Martian Manhunter John Jones expressing his opinion in this beautiful green text or that represents his speech. You have failed your trial, Mike Pence, and thus we have chosen another. And what Pence could have done, as everyone will recall, is he could have invoked the 25th Amendment, and he could have had Donald Trump removed in those last days of office from his position because he violated the Constitution in supporting this insurrection. And had that occurred, then we wouldn't have this repeat performance today in which Donald Trump has run for president and elected, a second time, and the promised, violence and anti-immigration sentiment, and the promised removal and harassment of enemies from within, which we've talked about in other contexts as deriving from that. There, if you want to, you can do a search, look up Joseph McCarthy, the enemy within speech. Joseph McCarthy's lawyer was Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn was Donald Trump's mentor. So there's basically we have a Joseph McCarthy, Roy Cohn, Donald Trump continuum, and that expression, the enemies from within, is one of the elements that constitute that continuum. And so Martian Manhunter has selected another. You have failed your trial, Mike, and thus we have chosen another. And who is it? It's this guy. This is the hero chosen to preserve democracy in the 21st century so that it can survive into the multiverses of the 31st century, and his name is I Am Peach. I Am Peach. And I believe, I may be forgetting, but I believe that very much like I Am Groot, or like Groot, his language consists entirely of saying, I am Peach. And there's his badge, and then he's wearing these tennis shoes. And then it says, you can, maybe I should interpret everything. Maybe I should leave, some stuff to be interpreted by my viewers, but Nike, maybe I'll put it this way. Okay, so the Nike shoes, right? Nike shoes, the Nike is victory. And on these Nike shoes, it says true to 7. Okay, so whose football jersey, if anyone can remember, whose football jersey was a 7, and then multiply, if you can't guess the answer, then multiply 7 by 7, and then you get a number, and then that's also a number that in one way or another references this individual that's being referred to here in the true to 7. So if you don't remember whose jersey is represented by the number 7 that might be on these Nike shoes, try multiplying 7 by 7. You come up with that number, and think football, and go from there. So, that gives you some clues, but also, gives you some work to do if you enjoy that kind of thing. So there's the hero. And how far are we into this? Let's see if I can find a time here. I can't really tell. I think we're about halfway, because we've got minus 4 minutes and 36 seconds, and we've got plus 4 minutes and 36 seconds over here. So we're right in the middle. So our hero arrives just about in the middle of the narrative. That's good. That's good timing, I think. That's and then we'll see, what unfolds from there. Let's see. We're only about a half an hour in, so I think I have some time to read a few more images. All right, so here's Ted the Barbarian Cruz once again, doing his little white supremacist, pinchy thing, crypto fascist thing that Trump is always doing over here. He's got his, whatever green jacket on, I guess referencing his, outdoor look, with his new beard and the sunglasses, so that he looks like a some kind of spy or villain, I guess. Senator Ted Cruz, and then we added the little Q thing, for Q-MAGAnon and all the Qs here, shown here. What is that? Championing, I guess, his best cues from or chanting. I don't know, maybe his best cues from Steve Bannon, I guess, because he reminded me in this image of Steve Bannon, the way he's always sort of grubby, and even though he's like a millionaire, right? He looks like he lives in the backwoods somewhere, and with these fatigues or whatever, not fatigues, but whatever it is he wears that, looks like he should be hunting elk or something. Oh yeah, and so with this racist gesture here, we're referring to it as a reference to tiny violins. Remember tiny violins? They call this tiny violins. It's like, okay. Well, we call it MAGAn forever. So you get the idea, like, you know, he's like pretending to play the world's smallest violin, but it's also a reference to, you know, this like white supremacist gesture and this idea of MAGAn forever. So he's referencing tiny violins and his role. And then there's something about tiny violins here. Tiny violins, something, something. Oh yeah, that's the big, see, can you see that? That's the big hand, like kind of in reverse over here. Like a ghostly, you know, tiny violins, Q-MAGAn forever gesture. And then there's Donald Trump. He does the gesture a lot. He does it an awful lot. And then you can always deny, because it's such a, you know, unextraordinary gesture that you can always deny that that's what it means. It shows up variously, you know, in some of the political satire that we've done. And I guess I should, you know, let ThermostatAnon know that just because we're reproducing an image of Ted Cruz making the gesture does not mean that we're supporting or promoting Ted Cruz's use of the gesture. And I think our relationship to Ted Cruz should be clear, you know, based on other work that we've done. But if it's not, you know, go back and look up Ted Cruz in the A Contracting Fee Through Theta YouTubeverse, and you'll see that we're often critical of Ted Cruz, and we don't support his, you know, racism, exploitation of gun lobbies, etc., etc., etc. In fact, you know, a lot of the work that we do is, you could even say anti-Ted Cruz, but, you know, for the benefit of the FBI, not anti-Ted Cruz to the extent that, you know, we're actually threatening Ted Cruz, or, you know, you know, making claims that, you know, you know, Ted Cruz should be removed by any means necessary or anything like that, you know. So we're not promoting violence against Ted Cruz just simply by producing political satire. So I just want to clarify that, so there's no future issue, right? So Donald Trump is saying, or his tiny violins QAnon forever hand gesture is saying, I lent Teddy Q my hand because he is one of our, you know, greatest of all time American patriots, as you can see. And then there's an artistic license disclaimer that I made even when I made this, so that Ted Cruz doesn't sue us. And then unfortunately that's not available. The this particular slideshow program, like I said, it cuts off the edges of the of the image a little bit. It abbreviates them a little bit, like reframes them, which is unfortunate for some of our stuff, because we used the entire frame, and so some of that stuff just didn't make it into the cut. You'll have to use your imagination on what the artistic license disclaimer might be, and I'm not sure what I said at the time, but I did make I did provide some disclaiming, you know, there. So I think we're good. Prince Ruperturbation always refers to Rupert Murdoch, if that's not obvious in what John Jones, Martian Manhunter, is saying here. I discovered Prince Ruperturbation's Q-MAGAn master plan exactly where I thought it would be, General. Let me see if I can figure out what this says. Okay, so please send every constitutionally loyal, professionally pledged dancer. Dancer is often the word that we use for warrior, like in the New Zealand Senate, right? Like recently, where the native New Zealanders, you know, performed a haka because there was a treaty that
that the New Zealand government, established with the native Maori peoples, and they want to rescind the treaty, because that's the way colonialism works, right? They always want to rescind the treaty now, and so there are some members of Parliament, I guess it's Parliament, not Congress, and who are, native Maori, and one of the younger ones she's performed hakas before in Parliament, and she did so again in relationship to this proposal to rewrite or dispose of the treaty, and she ripped up the treaty in the performance of the haka, or not the treaty, but the proposal to rewrite it in the performance, much in the manner of Sinead O'Connor, ripping the so bravely and powerfully, ripping the image of the Pope in half, and now everyone wants to love Sinead O'Connor, but at the time, like she really paid a high cost, for her actions, for her courage, for her political theater, and of course, we've always respected that, and I guess being censored is well, you're in you're in good company. Let's put well, historically speaking, we know we're in good company, right? Okay. So anyway, let me go back, because that was kind of a long aside about the haka in the New Zealand Parliament, and the reason that I brought that incident up at all, and you should look that up on YouTube, or on you type in Google, New Zealand Parliament haka, something like that, and the reason I brought it up is always explaining the use of the word dancer here, and by which, when a contract in V through Theta uses the word, as well as John John's Martian Manhunter, the word dancer often refers to warrior or political, activist engaged in an action, not merely representation, but an action in the world, and we perform actions in the world. So, for example, like what you would say about in this way of speaking, in this particular jargon, the way that you would refer to racist monument removal man is as a dancer, or you could say a two-hammer dancer, right? So if there was a reference to a two-hammer dancer, we would know in this particular jargon that we're referring to racist monument removal man. All right. Okay, so let me begin again, because that was kind of long. I discovered Prince Ruperturbation's Q-MAGAnon master plan, that's Rupert Murdoch's master plan, exactly where I thought it would be, General. And that's a reference to that back door into British Parliament. Like, you can look that up too. Something like Rupert Murdoch crawls through the back door of British Parliament, and a back door, of course, also refers to a different Doors song than the one that we talked about. The one that Aaron talked about in reviewing Michael McClure's reading of Break On Through. So there's a different Doors song, which I believe is Willie Dixon, written by Willie Dixon. If not Willie Dixon, Howling Wolf, and I think we've also mentioned that before, and I think we've mentioned who authored this song, and that reference. So you can look that up on our site. You can do a search for in the contract in V through Theta YouTuberverse. You can look up that song, and probably Rupert Murdoch will be referenced there. So that's exactly where he thought it would be. General, he's referring to this general over here. Please send every constitutionally loyal, professionally pledged dancer, right, you have to our sacred ceremony on the 20th. I've already requested a choir from Mars. And then again, okay, so for the sake of ThermostatAnon and perhaps Leon Mosquito, Leon Mosquito, who exists, both in the meta multi sci-fi comiverse and in our universe in the form of Elon Musk, right, believes that the colonization of Mars is possible. Though all the scientific evidence, that has ever, been researched and recorded, regarding, the nature of the planet Mars, would tell you otherwise. And even an intelligent 6-year-old child, given the actual information, and a multiple choice test could tell you, choose the answer. No, it isn't. No, it is impossible to colonize for humans to exist on Mars. Answer, fill in the box. Whatever it might be. But we don't want ThermostatAnon or others to, misinterpret the fact that because in the DC comiverse there is life on Mars, and an example of such life is Martian Manhunter, that we are embracing or promoting the Leon Mosquitoian proposal, right? That the investment of billions of dollars in a project to colonize an inhospitable and uninhabitable planet and live 2 miles underground to preserve oneself from the effects of life-threatening radiation, and then I don't know how water would be acquired. There's underground water on Mars, but it's unlikely that it's potable in any way, shape, or form. Given the other conditions, and the surface temperatures aren't hospitable to human beings. So you'd have to live underground, and I guess I don't know if there's anything that you could farm underground. It'd be extraordinarily costly, considering, and I'm not sure that one would want a civilization, of troglodytes, but that's just again, framing a different universe here. This individual is a Martian. He does come from Mars. He's requested, acquire from Mars. But in our universe, Mars is uninhabitable. So I don't want the fact that Martian Manhunter is presented here, speaking to a general, to promote the idea that I support Leon Mosquito's, ridiculous, science absent fantasy of colonizing Mars, and he's continuously wearing that T-shirt now. I think he just likes the idea of colonization. He's South African, and comes from a family, who colonized continents and exploited individuals, and I believe that's how he acquired his wealth to begin with, was through the exploitation of. That's why he's so these new. So now Jeff Bezos' company, Amazon. I don't know if he's still in any way, shape, or form, in charge of its operations, but it's certainly how he made all this money. But whoever runs Amazon now, and Leon Mosquito, Elon Musk are suing, right, the department of the government that enforces labor laws, because they have all these labor violations. So rather than like changing their labor policies, to and let me look that up too. Let's look all that up, and then we'll look at the general's response. But maybe this idea that you should have free labor, because you're I don't know, alpha hetero salamander guy grows out of his history as a slave master in South Africa. I don't know. I mean, not literally slavery, but individuals who were labor exploited to such an extreme that you know, the calling it, you know, slavery is barely, you know, a metaphor or hyperbole. I believe these laws were established under Roosevelt. We used to think that it was a good thing that, you know, we had protection. Children shouldn't, you know, be forced to work in, you know, coal mines in the United States, and, you know, that we don't have sweatshops here. That used to be like something that we prided ourselves on. I guess not so much anymore under Q-MAGAnon. Let's go back to, I know there was something on NPR, Amazon, and SpaceX. Let's put in Sue. There's AP. I think I can get AP. Amazon and Elon Musk's SpaceX challenge labor agency's constitutionality in federal court. There he is, Leon Mosquito in the flesh, not sporting his Colonize Mars t-shirt, his favorite t-shirt. Attorneys for Amazon and Leon Mosquito's SpaceX argued in a federal appeals court Monday that the National Labor Board's structure is unconstitutional. I think it's been around either since 1935 or 1938. We'll look it up. Advancing a legal fight that may last into the Trump administration, where Musk is expected to oversee bureaucratic cost cutting. And this is what protects the American worker, right? Oh, unfortunately, that's just a link to. I want to link to the national. I'm gonna just type in National Labor Board relations. Excuse me. Still that persistent cough. I wonder if I'll always have this cold now. This is the National Board Labor Relation Act. And oh yeah, 1935. So I was right. So in 1935, Congress passed the National Labor Relations Act, making clear that it is the policy of the United States to encourage collective bargaining by protecting workers' full freedom of association. The NLRA protects workplace democracy by providing employees at private sector workplaces the fundamental right to seek better working conditions and designation of representation without fear or retaliation. And just, you know, as a comment aside here, who was it that failed to endorse the Harris-Walz ticket, right? Does anybody remember in relationship to this particular act? Yeah, the head of the Teamsters Union, you know, like he didn't endorse Trump, but he failed to endorse Harris. And so what you get, sir, is you get some nasty little mosquito in a gnat in the ear of the Q-MAGAnon president, right? Trying to dismantle like that part, right? That part of a congressional act that specifies that worker bargaining is possible. That's what you do. That's what you do. You are a Teamster. That's what You are a union. This is what unions are. Like, your right to exist depends on this act. So, like, what did you do for yourself by not endorsing Ms. Harris? I mean, seriously, like, can we get somebody who knows how to vote in their own interest, please? Because dang, right? Okay, so if this is the case, and we know that our Supreme Court now is capable of making, you know, rash and sweeping decisions, because they were able to undo Roe v. Wade, right? Long standing, right, from the 70s, and this goes back even further. But you know, of course, under the new Joseph McCarthy, why would we want unions in the United States, right? Because capitalism should, you know, be free to destroy itself as well as it can under its own terms and conditions, right? So in 1935, Congress passed the National Labor Relations Act, NLRA, making clear that it is the policy of the United States to encourage collective bargaining by protecting workers' full freedom of association. That's unions. We're talking about unions, in case anybody missed that. The NLRA protects workplace democracy by providing employees at private sector workplaces the fundamental right to seek better working conditions, like protect themselves from the dangers they're put in by fools like Leon Mosquito, and designation of representation without fear of retaliation. So, like, what Leon Mosquito wants is, if you complain that you know, workers are losing their fingers, you know, you just get fired, right? We'll read the whole thing, because this is what they want to repeal. National Labor Relations Act, also cited NLRA or the Act 29. You know, all the numbers. The numbers are hard for me to read, so I'm not going to do all that. All right. Findings and policies. And do we have time just to read the entire thing? I don't know how long. It's really long. I don't think we can do that. Okay, so okay, just remember, National Labor Relations Act, NLRA, and then if you just type NLRA.gov into the search bar up here, this is the site right here. Okay, so National Labor Relations Board.gov, and it gives you the text, because we're at 52 minutes and I cannot read all of this, and then we still have to go back and look at the image, because we haven't even gotten to the general yet. All right, so anyway, so that's there. Go back over here, and then and all of that, I guess, with the side about Leon Mosquito was just an outgrowth of, you know, our justification of the presence of Martian Manhunter here. I'm not saying that this is what we'll look like if we follow Leon Mosquito's advice and colonize Mars, and that we're perfectly capable of it if we just learn a little bit more from Martian Manhunter. I'm claiming that it is an scientific impossibility, the colonization of Mars, and that this figure only exists in another universe, that is the DC universe. Well, and the obviously in the meta-multi sci-fi comiverse. And the general is responding, "Thank you, Martian Manhunter. I'll pass that intel on to who? Okay, I don't know if you can read that. And there's an exclamation point. I'll pass that intel on to I am Peach." And just in case some of you out there are even more dyslexic than I am Peach is a reference to the verb impeach. And that'll wrap it up for today.